just a Facebook page as I was just searching the whole recycle content. And it's not particularly the best that I've ever seen. It's not the worst I've ever seen. But the idea is when you start seeing numbers, they have 152,000 likes. What you should do at something like this when you come to it, say, this is quite a popular page, a place for a company on the web, and start studying what makes it click. And as you go through different places that you visit, check out and see if certain things are common. This has a nice series of conversations. It looks like there's a lot of visuals that go with it. Of course, it has a consumer bent to it that adds interest to it, where they get rewarded for utilizing recycled items. But the idea, as you travel through social media opportunities, and not even just on Facebook, but to kind of go out there and say, what are people doing right? If there's somebody in your sector who is very parallel to your business, check them out. There's a lot of surveillance that goes on, trust me, online with social media. We can find out a lot about competition, not just the world, but competition and competitors. Some tell a lot of stories that perhaps shouldn't be on there, but we can certainly learn a lot from seeing who's doing it, I'll say, right. Maybe that's not the correct word, but we're doing it effectively and getting folks to follow them. Also keep track of how frequently conversations are engaged. There's nothing worse than coming to a Facebook page or a Twitter account and folks, every 2 weeks or 2 months are engaging. Kind of gets stale after a while. But walk around and see. For example, I think when I came to this page, just the way they describe themselves is so thought out. For example, let me just read something because you might not, I guess you should be able to read it, but Recycle Bank helps create a more sustainable future by rewarding people for taking everyday green actions and discounts and deals from local and national businesses. They kind of paint the picture of who they are. They tell what the company does, what their mission is, and back it up with some pretty hefty and significant awards. How can your story be told? That's the little filter you put in your mind as you go through the examples that you see. How do you tell your story in a compelling way to the folks who visit? Hopefully you'll get 149,000. They were doing some sort of promotion to get 150,000 fans, so I think that was, there's different aspects of this site that are really doing well. But not all examples are good examples, and we can learn from the not so good ones too. I'm going to throw out 2 don'ts here and very strongly throw these out. Don't mix business and personal on the same Facebook page or Twitter account or LinkedIn. And there's also a danger of revealing too much information. Again, this is another one of my real tweets that I captured. This individual felt the need to tweet, had shingles twice, last time in 2009, got vaccination, nothing since. This was in the midst of various business tweets that, first of all, stuck out. Second of all, depending on how folks might use it or pass it along, that's the other thing about social media. Folks will probably pass something like this along, and they obviously weren't thinking about what they were doing. It's kind of like as you review each of these pages and tweets and things, put filters in place for your specific business and its need. As you check out like-minded companies, for example, your competitors, other businesses you respect, how active and engaged is their social media presence? What features are they using well? What do you see, like this example, that you'd like to avoid? The other thing that you can do too is perform Google or other searches on your company and its competitors. What does that search reveal about your organization and others? One thing we know is if you participate in social media, that more than your website comes up. So you have some depth to the response to that search survey. Social media can also increase your SEO capability. So that's an added benefit. But does the social media presence of your competitors broaden the information that comes up in the search? Take a look at that too and say they must be doing something right as you go through these different examples that you're studying. Let's take a look now at the 3 leading social media platforms I mentioned earlier, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, to see how they might fit into your organization's overall communications, not the other way around. And as part of this observe and learn step, you should do your own assessment of each platform in terms of your own organization. Here's how I frame out each. And again, this is Joe speak. This is not necessarily the technical definitions. Facebook, as I mentioned earlier, more than 800 million active users. I frame it out as a conversational gathering place of massive proportion that's part high school yearbook, part sidewalk newsstand, and part human behavior study. All of those things I believe it certainly is. I look at it though and I see opportunities. It's an ever active beehive of social discourse, informational exchange, and pop culture exhibition amongst millions of global users. The challenges really are that it's a social-centric environment that makes it difficult to initiate business dialogue in, with frequently changing settings and controls. So as you go through your learn and observe, see how you see each platform, because you have to evaluate each social media platform. And some of these frameworks will help you evaluate whether or not it happens to be right for you. Twitter, I say it's an instant messaging meets cultural seismograph meets conversational cliff notes for folks looking for some type of commonality. It is a fast-moving medium. Opportunities, I think it's ideal for brief commentary and exchange, info and link sharing, and in-the-moment reporting and reactions. What did we just see with the earthquake and tsunami in Japan? Twitter was at the heart and soul of that, as it's been in many current events. The challenges, of course, I think it speaks for itself. Mastering messaging within the 140 character limit, that is a challenge. Developing a following, another huge challenge. And sorting out simultaneous conversations. The more folks you have on board, the more those lines are coming in, and it's hard to connect all of those. Let's jump over to LinkedIn. Now, of the 3 platforms that we're looking at today, LinkedIn is the one that is geared more toward business. And I'll call it resume meets business card meets ongoing networking event, where folks with varied backgrounds or specific interests can gather. Sounds a little like chamber mixers or industry conferences, and it is exactly that, but on a digital level. Opportunities on LinkedIn, some great ones for businesses. Networking, recruitment, information exchange, industry updates, expertise display, reconnection, and there's a robust search if you're looking for something in particular, a company, a person, a particular skill. The challenges here are really balancing the amount of information that's displayed, controlling who can and can't view info and activity, and managing requests. Lots of folks want to be your friend, lots of folks want to have a connection to you, and some seem to be collecting connections. I know one person within my circle who probably has 500 or 600 in the last month or two, Not sure what the prize is at the end, but keep it meaningful.